coming up on Refresh Cinema. Harry's like, oh, hey, Dad, can you give Peter a job? And, he needs one. And Norman Osborn's like, the guy I actually like, of course. What kind of job do you need, man I love? Harry, be quiet. I'm talking to an important person. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Refresh Cinema. I'm Vincent.
And I'm Jess, and today we are talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah!
Woo! Oh my god, one of my favorite movies growing up. I was obsessed with Spider-Man.
Oh, God.
You'll plug the pictures I sent you?
Oh, God. Yeah, here's some nice pictures of Jess dressed up in Spider-Man that I had not seen in years. I forgot this stuff was around, but
Circa 2009 and maybe like 2012. And I have brought with me today an ancient relic to celebrate. This is the Spider-Man blanket my dad got for me for maybe like my 13th birthday.
Oh, okay.
And the next year, guess what he got me?
More Spider-Man?
This exact same thing.
What?
And I was like, Dad, I already have this. He goes, oh, where'd you get it? I was like, you got it for me last year for my birthday. What are you doing? And a Spider-Man cake. I've been a big Spider-Man girl forever. So very excited.
Oh, me too.
We're talking about our boy Spidey today.
Yeah, my introduction to Spider-Man was the 90s animated series on Fox Kids. That was my introduction to the character. So when I heard there was a movie coming out, I was excited. I was like, oh, I hope they do this well. Because, he's Spider-Man. He has been one of Marvel's most popular superheroes for decades. For
good reason.
Yeah, even with the introduction of the MCU and you saw guys like Iron Man and Captain America start taking more of the spotlight, Spider-Man has remained a fixture of superhero stuff,
Girls like me love a dork.
Yeah. I can confirm this. She's dated quite a few dorks over the years.
Not quite a few.
She's dated dorks. No specific number of dorks.
Oh my gosh, and to be more specific, we are talking about Spider-Man from 2002.
Yes.
With Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
And Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
Willem Dafoe.
The wonderful Willem Dafoe.
Yes. The brother is he the crazy one? Yeah, the crazy one.
James Franco?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dave's fine. James is a little off. That's with James Franco.
Yeah, so this is our second Tobey Maguire movie in a row.
Just by coincidence, we both picked Tobey Maguire movies.
Yeah.
And by coincidence, they're both two of our favorite movies.
I know. Yeah, last week, or 2 weeks ago, when the episode came out. Last episode, we did Pleasantville, which is another great movie. If you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a while, I'll put the link down in the description and up in the corner if I remember. Yeah. So, Spider-Man 2002. It's kind of the classic story. We have Peter Parker. He's the nerd at school. He's got seemingly no friends.
Oh boy, it's like the bus leaves without him, and the bus driver laughs, and he runs and tries to catch up with it. That's one of the first things we see happen.
Yeah. It's just the bus driver just even being a minor villain of sorts. He gets on the bus. He's got the mega, I don't even want to call it a crush because it's genuine love. He's got
love with Mary Jane. They have known each other since they were 6.
Yeah,
because they're neighbors.
They're neighbors, but they don't really talk a whole lot. Yeah.
They're not close.
Yeah. And then you got James Franco playing Harry Osborn, his best friend, and Willem Dafoe playing Norman Osborn, Harry's father, and they have a very strained relationship because his dad is always working and he never makes time for him. And even when they do have time together, he's putting Harry down for not being like him because he's not a scientific genius like he is. And we see parts in the movie where he's treating Peter with more respect than Harry because Peter is a scientist like he is. Great thing about Sam Raimi, who was the director of this film, who up until that point people probably knew him most for the Evil Dead film series and Darkman. But yeah, he was just a great pick for this movie because he grew up reading the classic comic books, so he understood the character, he loved the character, and being the writer and director, he was just obviously, looking back now, not a controversial statement at all, the best choice for this film because he brought his own brand of like emotional content and campiness. And that's the one thing about this movie, it has a lot of campiness.
Yeah.
Because this movie knows it's a superhero film, it knows it exists in a weird, silly world, and it totally embraces it. It does not hide from it at all. They go on a field trip.
To the spider lab.
Yeah. Some kind of laboratory where they're doing genetic experiments on spiders for some day.
Normal for high school, right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? And even on the field trip, he's getting picked on by these kids. He wants to be a photographer, so he's trying to take pictures, and every time he pulls his camera up, one of the guys pushes him a little bit.
The teacher tries to stop them, even though the teacher doesn't look any older than them because they all cast adults in this film.
That's true. Yeah.
He's too nervous to like even talk to MJ. He's lived next to this girl for like at least 10 years.
Yeah.
He's too scared to talk to her. Harry goes to talk to her and tells her some spider trivia that he got from Peter.
After mocking Peter for giving the trivia in the first place, he's like, oh, spiders can change colors to blend in. It's a defense mechanism. And Harry's like, okay, dork.
Yeah. But then they all start to walk off to the next exhibit or whatever. And he's like, she's still looking at the spider. So Peter's like, hey, I need a picture for the school magazine. Can you mind posing with the genetically engineered super spiders?
It's so cute.
Yeah, so he takes a few pictures, and while he's doing it, one of the spiders has escaped, comes down under a little thread, bites him on the hand. And then picture time's over, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's not feeling too good.
Well, then while that's going on, we go to Oscorp Industries. They are making some military-grade weapons, but also they have a chemical, a serum, whatever you want to call it, that's supposed to be a performance enhancer. It's supposed to make people, basically super soldiers. But unfortunately, the serum is not working, and it's actually, they tested it out on mice, and it made the mice smarter and stronger.
But angrier.
And he literally says insane. Like, they go, like, I'm just, like, imagining Chuck E. Cheese going crazy in a ball pit.
Chuck E. Cheese is terrifying enough. Animatronics, no thanks.
Charles Entertainment Cheese. Which I only found out a year ago that's what the E stood for.
I found out just now.
You're welcome.
They say that it's not ready to go to trial yet, but they're on a tight timeline.
Yeah.
I think of 2 weeks.
Yeah. So he tests the chemical, the serum, out on himself. And next thing you know...
He busts through the glass, grabs his friend by the throat, throws him through.
Yeah. And I love Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe, once again, he's embracing the comic bookiness because he jumps onto the edge of the ledge and like he's already like in like glider stance, like the goblin, like here. Like, you know, he knows the assignment, damn it.
He does. He's ready.
Yeah. So then we switch back to like it's the next day. Peter wakes up and it looks like you've been doing Tae-Bo for like a week or so.
He's ripped.
Yeah.
He's ripped, and he can see better without his glasses.
Yeah. That's like a meme now.
Yeah.
They do like the glasses and you see this stuff. We see MJ being chased out of her home by her abusive father.
Oh, yeah.
He calls her trash and you'll never be worth anything, just like your mother. Horrible. So, you know.
And Toby's overhearing all of this.
Yeah. And then we go to school. He's eating lunch by himself. And he starts to notice that there's something on his wrist. He accidentally activates his web shooter. And then he accidentally flings lunch at Flash Thompson, who's been bullying him. And Toby, just like an awkward teenager the way, he just walks out of the lunchroom.
Dragging the tray behind him with his web.
Yeah.
And everyone's laughing at him. Like, oh, what a freak. What's he doing?
He just goes straight to his locker and he's like, what the hell's going on with me? And then Flash is coming up from behind him, goes for the punch, and his spidey sense kicks in. And we see he has like this omnidirectional awareness of everything going on around him. Dodges the punch. About at first, Flash's friends are trying to help him, but he just flips out of the way.
Yes, he does like a giant springing backflip over Flash.
Yeah. And yet no one figured out this guy was Spider-Man. hey, who swings like this? So then he takes out Flash, and it's just like this, wow, holy crap, I beat the school bully, you know. Some people are like amazed, like Harry's like, holy crap, Pete, you kicked his ass, you know. But everyone else...
People calling him a freak.
Yeah, and he
was so proud of himself too, because doesn't he punch Flash Silver, whatever his name is?
Yeah, he punches.
And he just goes down the hall.
Yeah, and he bumps into somebody who's for some reason has their lunch tray in the hallway and then falls on him again. Oh, speaking of lunch tray, I forgot to talk about one of the coolest moments in the film.
Yes.
So earlier, before he accidentally webs the lunch onto Flash, MJ slips like on a banana peel or some crap like that. Her lunch goes flying up in the air.
And
Peter catches her, catches the lunch tray, and catches all the food perfectly. And what makes this so awesome is that Tobey Maguire actually caught the lunch.
Wow, great reflexes.
They wanted to do it without the use of special effects or camera trickery. They wanted to really do it. So they tried it again and again to catch all the lunch on the tray without it like catching it, without it rolling off. And finally they were like running out of ideas, and they're like, what do we do? And I'm like, I don't know, try putting a little bit of glue or something on the bottom of each item so it sticks to the tray. They tried that, didn't work. Tried it one last time, and he nailed it.
dang.
That is really him. And if you go into slow-mo, you can kind of see on one thing a little bit of the glue. It's so quick. You would have to like slow it down frame by frame. But I can only imagine being on set and being like,
Wow.
holy fuck, he really is Spider-Man. The classic Spider-Man food tray.
Oh, that's amazing.
So now he runs blocks away, and he's like starting to explore. Okay, what's going on with me? And we see the scene where they do the close-up of the finger, and you see like the little spider prongs.
Little like hairs, spider hairs.
Yeah. And he starts climbing up the wall.
Some random building in
Yeah.
town. Yeah.
Yeah, and he does, you know, the woo! Like he's Ric Flair. Woo! He has that moment. He comes home. He's all excited and stuff, you know. Well, he gets home late. He was supposed to help his Uncle Ben paint the kitchen.
But he didn't.
Yeah, so he feels a little bad. Peter's taking out the trash, but he can hear next door that once again MJ's father is going ballistic and just screaming at her. She goes out back to find some peace and quiet. She's like, sees Peter taking out the trash. She's like, could you hear that? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, sorry about that. And he's like, hey, my Uncle Ben, Aunt May yell. You know, it happens. And she's like, what are you doing after school? And, when you graduate? He's like, oh, I'm moving into the city, going to become a photographer. And she's like, oh, okay. And he asks, like, what about you? She's like, oh, I'm going to the city too. And she's hesitant to say what she wants to do.
Very shy about
Yeah.
it.
And he says, no, well, tell me, try me. She's like afraid he's going to think she's silly. She says she wants to become an actress. And he immediately validates her desire to become an actress.
Well, that's perfect. You're awesome in all the school plays.
Really?
Yeah.
And this is a key moment in Mary Jane's life where someone tells her, you're great, you're awesome, you're wonderful. And this is something that over the course of the movie, Peter keeps reinforcing being support, because she's never really had support. She's either been put down or she's just been, arm candy for somebody else. But yeah, this is the beginning of the development of their relationship. But then he sees an article where he can win $3,000 in a wrestling match, and he wants to use it to buy a really cool sports car to impress MJ. Mm-hmm. And he goes to this thing to, be in the wrestling match. He doesn't tell Uncle Ben. He just tells Uncle Ben he's going to the library. And Uncle Ben knows that something's off with Peter.
Don't be in these libraries. It's all back to Pleasantville.
Yeah. And then that's where we have the moment where Uncle Ben gives him the iconic Spider-Man line.
With great power comes great responsibility.
But he's not listening to him because he's in full teenager mode where he's so focused on himself right now, right? Because that happens with teenagers. When we're young, we sometimes we don't
listen to our parental figures. Huh?
No. He's thinking about how can I get the girl. So he blows off Uncle Ben, walks off, goes to the wrestling match where he fights the wrestler Bonesaw.
He's just in his little hoodie, his little spidery hoodie.
Yeah.
He's looking like he weighs 20 pounds soaking wet. He just looks so tiny compared to Bonesaw. And it's so funny.
Yeah, Bonesaw played by the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was great. If we're gonna go full, goofy comic booky, we got to get one of those real world wrestlers who fully embraces their like wrestling personality.
For real.
Yeah. No, and if Sam Raimi makes a movie, even if it's only for 2 seconds, you can bet your money that Bruce Campbell's going to be in that movie. Hell, I mean, Sam Raimi directed the Doctor Strange 2, and Bruce Campbell had a cameo in that as well as a guy in a different universe selling pizza balls.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Yes. And then they lowered the cage.
The cage. The cage match. I got you for 3 minutes, and Bonesaw's ready.
That's exactly it.
Bonesaw is ready. But yeah, so they have a match. Peter uses his spider powers, does some swinging and dodging.
Randy Savage hits him in the head with a chair.
Yeah.
He gets a crowbar.
Yeah, he even though he wins, even though Peter wins, there's some moments where Bonesaw is kind of holding his own.
Yeah.
He goes to the owner of the thing. He's supposed to get $3,000. He only hands him $100, and he's like, I'm supposed to get $3,000. The owner's like, said 3 minutes. You only fought for 2, so you get $100. And he's just counting his cash.
And Petey Boy's like, I need this money. And the guy's like, that's not my problem.
Exactly.
So Peter's like, all right, bye. And he hears a commotion. Turns out they're being robbed. And the guy runs out with the money. He's running toward the elevator. And Peter had already selected to open it. So he just lets the guy run free. And Money Man is like, WTF, he's gone off with my money. And Peter says,
I missed the part where that's my problem.
which kind of
backfires.
Yeah, you can talk about the part that makes me cry.
Pete's outside. He's headed back toward the library where his Uncle Ben's supposed to pick him up. He sees a crowd. He goes in the middle of it, and it's Uncle Ben lying on the cold concrete sidewalk of New York, bleeding out from his torso. And, a cop says he got robbed and somebody shot him, stole the car. And he's just crying. He's like, Uncle Ben, I'm here. And Uncle Ben, he opens his eyes, still full of, tears, and he's looking around for Peter because he's like, he's like, Peter, and I'm here, Uncle Ben, and he tries to say one last thing to Peter, but then he passes on, and we lose Uncle Ben. And as horrible and sad as this is the critical moment in Spider-Man's life. He chases the guy who's in Uncle Ben's car, where he starts to develop the beginnings of web slinging, chases him down to some abandoned warehouse, clobbers him around a bit, and he realizes, oh my God, this is the guy who robbed the wrestling company.
The guy who he let go.
Who he should have stopped, but he didn't because he wanted to spite the wrestling owner. The guy falls back through the window and dies. So take out, so Peter isn't a killer because we can't have Spider-Man be killing people.
Mm-hmm. That always kills me. The moment Peter realizes that it's the guy who he let get away. And then the guy laughs at his face.
So, graduation day, skipping back ahead. Graduation day.
Yes, Willem Dafoe is like, wow, you won the science. Great job.
Yeah. After he said to his own son, well...
It's not the first time I've been proven wrong.
It shouldn't be about proving him wrong. It should be about you just being proud of your son.
Yeah, right?
We also see MJ break up with Flash Thompson. Mm-hmm. That's the last time we see him.
She gives the ring back.
Yeah. I like how all their graduation robes are green. I don't know. Did he are they all green because Oscorp green, Goblin green, and
symbolism.
Yeah. Did he donate to the school or something? It cuts to Peter in his room back at home, and he's crying. And Aunt May comes in because he misses Uncle Ben and wishes he was there. And he tells her I blew him off. He was trying to tell me something important, and she's like, he loved you. He knew you loved him back. Things happen. Don't worry about it. And this is it. This is where Peter decides he's taken Uncle Ben's words to heart, and Spider-Man is born.
Yes.
And we see him swinging around. We see him taking out criminals. We see him helping people. We see this like montage of like, newspaper stuff and people doing interviews. I love to see it in a movie where it's just random interviews of random New Yorkers. Yes. And you can tell like some people are definitely actors. Like there's this one comedian. He's the bald guy. His name is Jim something. He's actually a working comedian, stand-up comedian. I forget what his name is. But then you have those two construction worker guys, and I can't prove this. I didn't research, but I've got such a feeling that they were just actual real guys they found on the street.
Throws up his hands, ropes come out, and he climbs up the ropes like a spider web.
He's not acting. He's just saying what he knows about Spider-Man.
That's real.
And then you have Xena Warrior Princess, Lucy Lawless being some random goth rocker chick.
Oh, was that Lucy Lawless?
That was Lucy Lawless!
Oh, yeah, and she's like, 8 arms? Kind of hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and we get introduced to the iconic J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons.
Yes.
Who is Spider-Man? He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante. A public menace.
Oh, he's so great as J. Jonah. He's so great. He's so great that when they brought the character back in the MCU, they just got J.K. Simmons to play him again. Because who else is going to do it?
Right.
He's like right off the page. That's exactly how
No pun intended.
No pun intended. But yeah, he plays it just like this guy. He's just like, we need a new news. Get this front page. It's just like, this guy looks like a menace. It's Spider-Man.
Like the head of the newspaper.
Yeah. Yeah, the Daily Bugle, and he's just great. And he's like, he's a cheapskate. And they're like, what? And it's like, what does my wife want? Just get the cheaper one. Boom. He's just awesome. And like the haircut, they just did.
Smoking his big cigar.
Yeah. One of the best castings in superhero cinema. J.K. Simmons is J. Jonah Jameson. They need pictures of Spider-Man because he wants to put it in the front page. And Peter and Harry are now living together in an apartment. And Pete mentions, and Pete just lost his job. And Harry's like, oh, hey, Dad, can you give Peter a job? And, he needs one. And Norman Osborn's like, the guy I actually like, of course. What kind of job do you need, man I love? Harry, be quiet. I'm talking to an important person. But Peter's like, no, I want to make my own way. And once again, I feel so bad for Harry because he's like, Norman's like, you're not taking the job from me. You want to make your own way. I respect that. You just see Harry because he's probably never heard his dad say, I'm proud of you or I respect what you did. He's never had any kind of support, And it
hurts.
Yeah. But then we see like he sees a Daily Bugle ad. He starts taking the pictures. Goes to J. Jonah Jameson, and he's looking at the pictures, and they're all great because he set them up.
Yeah.
Because he's Spider-Man, and he's like, crap, mega crap. This one's good. We gave you $200, and like he's like, that's not what the ad said. And then he's like about to take the pictures and leave, and he's like, oh, I'll give you this much standard fee.
And he says he's gonna run that front page ad to say, is Spider-Man a friend or foe?
Yep.
And Peter's face just drops because he had never considered that anyone would think he's trying to do harm.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh shit, now I gotta deal with this.
Yeah. Another relatable thing: we have a boss that you hate, but you need money, so you can't quit the job.
Been there.
Yeah. Oh, haven't we all? Yeah. But then Peter earlier found out that because he went to go visit MJ, he bumps into her on the street. And he finds out that Harry and her are dating. He didn't know that. Harry was keeping it a secret.
But she mentioned it.
Yeah.
As you know, Harry and I.
Yeah. So then later we find out at the an Oscorp board meeting. That's what board meeting. That after Green Goblin took out the competition, their stocks are up. Everything's going. They're making a ton of money. But then the board meetings are like, I know, we're worth so much money right now, which is why we're selling the company. And
you're fired.
Yeah, you're out, and like, it's like, you can't do this to me. Like,
you know how much I sacrificed?
And it's just like, William Dafoe, damn it, he's so good. And like, they're being so like the one board member is like, sorry, Norman, it's just, we can't pass it up. And the other one, because we need one jerk in the group,
right?
Is like, he's got his like little cup of tea and like he's pretentiously like about to sip it, like, you're out, Norman. It's a pretentious blend. Yeah. So then we go to the this big festival that Oscorp is hosting, and in the middle there's There's a what was the musician? I forget her name.
Macy Gray.
Macy Gray.
Very 2002.
Yeah, she was
Very.
super popular back then. But Harry's there with the members of the board are up on a giant ledge on some big fancy building. MJ's there, and Harry, he's there with MJ, the prettiest girl at their high school. But then Peter's there taking pictures, and then the Green Goblin shows up, attacks, throws a bomb that blows up part of the building. The ledge is falling down, and then he throws a bomb that completely disintegrates all the members of the board.
Yep.
Peter does the classic superhero opening, the shirt, spider symbol.
It's Spider-Man!
Knocks Goblin, fights Goblin for a little bit.
Aerial fighting, right?
Yeah, because
they are in the sky.
Damages the glider. Goblin has to take off, and then MJ falls down, dives down, catches her, and swings off awesomely.
And everyone's cheering.
Yes.
She was like screaming for help.
Oh, Kirsten Dunst could have been one hell of a scream queen. You put
Right?
her, yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, because she's on the balcony and you see it like break,
Yeah.
crack, and then eventually he's able to swing and get her.
Yeah, you have the awesome scene of her, like, close-up shot of her, like, embracing Spider-Man, and she's like, we're swinging through the air. And I have to point this out because somebody in the comments will. It's very clear that Kirsten Dunst is holding on to a mannequin because it's not moving. It's just...
It's completely still. Maybe he was really concentrating, okay?
Yeah.
And he swings her onto a rooftop, and she's like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, see ya.
She's like, who are you? It's like, you know who I am. She's like, Peter? No, she doesn't. She's like, who's like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? And like, he swings off.
And leaves her in the middle of where? Now she has to get down from that building, like orient herself. She's probably kind of far from home. Now she's got to go on a whole ass thing. I mean, she's like, Spider-Man save me, but also like logistically inconvenient.
Yeah. But she's all in awe and, oh my God, Spider-Man.
Well.
And I forget exactly what happens next.
Well, Willem comes in.
Yeah. Oh, okay. The moment where he realizes what's really going on with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. The moment where Norman's hearing voices as he's having some, like, I don't know, cognac. I don't know, whatever rich people
That's
drink.
probably cognac.
Whatever the rich people drink. I've never been in a bar. I've heard people like, oh, give me some whiskey, give me some bourbon, give me this, give me that. I never heard anybody in a bar drink cognac unless they could buy an island.
That's true. So he's hearing these voices.
Yeah.
And he's trying to figure out, because it's a taunting voice. And he's trying to figure out where it's coming from. And the voice is like, you know who I am. And he turns to all these masks that he has on the wall that are from other cultures. And he's using the mask. And the voice is like, no, behind you. And eventually he turns around and sees himself in the mirror. And comes to the conclusion that he is the voice. He's the Green Goblin.
He's the Green, yeah. And he changes. Like when he's Norman, he's like all scared and confused and frightened. But when he's a Goblin, he's like standing tall and he's confident. He's got some swagger to him, you know. And here's the thing. This scene is very telling because Norman knows Harry was on that ledge with the board members. So Norman has to realize that Harry almost died.
Yeah.
But he's not thinking about that. He's thinking about his own selfish desires. And a lot of people, like, that's why the Green Goblin isn't just some personality that manifested because of the serum. He's a manifestation of Norman's deepest, darkest desires. This is Norman. It's just this personality is Norman without any societal filters. The you know, he's not pretending to be like, you know, upstanding citizen.
Yeah.
This is the real deep, dark him.
This almost mirrors last 2 weeks ago when we talked about Pleasantville.
Yeah.
How people are pleasant until they're challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, yeah, so like Norman's challenge is he might lose his company, lose his money, and comes the Goblin. Vincent here with an editor's note. Since this episode is coming out in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, Jess and I just wanted to point it out that as much as we love the Green Goblin and Norman Osborn and just a great movie villain that they are not at all representative of real dissociative identity disorder, more commonly known as split personality. These are fun, entertaining sci-fi fantasy characters and do not really represent people who do have DID, which are real world people with DID are nothing like what you see in movies. There's not the, oh, we black out and we turn into an evil monster. That's not at all what that stuff is about. So just wanted to point that out for clarification, just in case anybody thinks we're misrepresenting. Anyway, back to the discussion. Where we go to, like, Toby, once again, he's selling more pictures of J. Jonah Jameson, and he's just being J. Jonah. He's like, get out of here, kid. I got your pictures. I got what I wanted. And he throws his cigar butt out the friggin' window, and it comes right back in. And he's like, what? And then, boom, the Green Goblin comes crashing through, grabs J. Jonah by the neck, lifting him up, and he's like, tell me who gives you that picture of Spider-Man. And here is an important moment for J. Jonah Jameson. Because up to this point, he's just been a jerk.
Yeah.
He's been a total jerk. But is he a horrible person? This scene says no, because he says,
I don't know who he is. This stuff comes in the mail. You're lying, I swear.
J. Jonah Jameson is a lot of things. But the one thing I'll give the character, he's not a coward. He was not going to sacrifice somebody else.
Yeah.
But then Peter shows up as Spider-Man. Green Goblin hits him with some knockout gas. And then it takes, I guess, a few hours for the knockout gas to weigh off. Because it's nighttime, they're up on a roof, but Peter's all, like, paralyzed from the stuff. Goblin's like, we need to team up. We're basically gods, and blah, 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 blah. And Peter's like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
And Goblin's like, your choice, hero. And he takes off. And
I would have been like, I'm a very obnoxiously thorough person. I'd be like, to be clear, are we teaming up to do good? Are we teaming up to do bad? Are we vigilanteing? Is there like a nice middle road that we can just sort of meet each other halfway? I'd be negotiating. I'd be like, how can I make sure he doesn't villainize the entire world? How can I also try to be good?
Green Goblin would be like, I mean, I was going to take out the elementary school, so that's kind of what I had in mind. Yeah.
My printer was broken. I don't have my business plan.
We have another scene later of Peter and MJ. He finds out that she had an audition for something. They have another moment where he's just like, once again, being so supportive and whatnot. But then it starts to rain. And then, of course, we have some hoodlums. And that's what they are. They're movie hoodlums.
She walks off.
Yeah.
Alone. And just like that, these guys start to follow her down an alleyway.
Yeah, they're like, I think she could be a victim. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, movie trope, check.
So she's fighting these guys off as best she can. It's raining. Because it goes from 2 guys, and all of a sudden, like, 2 or 3 more guys show up.
Yeah, she's a little badass.
Yeah. A little elbow, little purse whack. It's raining hard, and then Pete comes in, knocks them all away. And then they have the iconic moment, which was parodied a lot in the years to come, the upside down Spider-Man kiss. He finally gets to kiss the woman of his dreams. Though I think one time I heard in an interview that when they were doing that scene, because of the rain and the fact that he was upside down, the water was collecting in Tobey Maguire's mouth.
Oh.
And he was like half drowning during that scene.
Oh my god.
So credit to Tobey for almost dying.
Yeah, right. To that pivotal scene.
Yeah.
The veins in his neck were popping out. I was like, shit, he is really upside down.
Yeah, well, he's probably stressing from the drowning. Oh, Kirsten, make it quick.
That was a long kiss, too.
Yeah. J. Jonah Jameson is just trashing Spider-Man in the news. So much so that now the police have to arrest him if he shows up. Because there's a burning building. Firemen are on the spot. But this woman screaming, my baby's in the building. How her baby got left in the building, I don't know.
How far away could you be from your baby? How big is your apartment?
Yeah. Spider-Man flies in. There's an explosion. Oh, God. But he pops back out. Got the baby. It's fine. Cops pull up. It's like, don't go anywhere. We got to arrest you because J. Jonah Jameson said so.
This guy doesn't like you.
No. But then there's somebody screaming back in the building. He's like, I got to go. The cop's like, go do it, but you come right back. And he's like, not coming back, chief. Pops off.
I love that.
Yeah. Goes in, the woman's screaming. He's like, where are you? And then we're
fighting through the smoke and the flames and the building's falling apart.
Yeah. And he finds the woman, and it's the effing goblin.
Turns around, takes off his little babushka blanket. Because he looks, if I recall correctly from the back, he looks like he could like have a little hunchy and like a blanket looks like a little babushka.
So they fight, And he's like, so what are we going to team up or what? We going to be BFFs? What's going on? And Spider-Man, he's like, are you in or are you out? And then like a classic comic book kind of retort.
It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind.
Wrong answer.
And then he throws like these saw blade bombs at Spider-Man. And just, I remember the theater, this awesome moment, like, oh my God. And he just like spider spins and jumps around it. And it's just like, Some of the building crumbles and Spider-Man's like, I'm out of here. I want to beat your ass, but not get burned at the same time. Pops out.
No one says no to me.
It's Thanksgiving.
And Aunt May is there.
Aunt May is there. So they're bringing the families together. Norman shows up, giving the excuse that I can't remember what his excuse is, but he was like, oh, work with murder. Once again, this movie knows it's a silly comic book film, and it's embracing it. But it's not it's embracing the silliness without being just a flat out silly movie.
Because it's still a little, it's a deadpan delivery.
Yeah. So they have that, and like he meets MJ, and he's like, and she's like, oh, I'm glad to finally meet you. And he's like, yeah. And they hear a noise upstairs because Peter comes swinging in, not realizing everyone's there already. So they go upstairs. Pete's like on the roof.
On the ceiling?
Yeah, trying to avoid everybody.
The blood drips, lands on the floor as they're all leaving.
Norman sees that, switches into goblin mode. And,
It's a big ass drop of blood, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider blood's chunky.
Oh thank you. Okay.
He looks out the window. Pete's like under the ledge now at this point. He's trying to avoid it. Norman's like, Goes back downstairs. Pete comes back through the front door this time. They're all sitting down. They're about to like eat, and stuff. Like Norman's being a jerk because he was dipping into like the marshmallow covered sweet potato, mashed potatoes, whatever the he was doing.
And he's like menacingly sharpening knives and looking at Aunt May.
Oh yeah, he's thinking about carving her up,
right?
Yeah,
and she was looking kind of like, okay. It was very strange interaction they were having because she was like, "Is he gonna carve me like a turkey?" And then old Petey did not wrap his wounds.
No.
So through his shirt, the blood starts to show, and that's when Willem Dafoe is like, "How'd you do that, buddy?" And Pete says he got hit by like a bike messenger.
Yeah, he was stepping. He said, "Oh, I stepped up the curb and I got clipped by a bike messenger." And when Norman asks him, "How'd that happen again?" He's like, "A bike messenger knocked me down." He changed the detail.
Yeah.
And that's when Norman realizes, like, "Oh crap, you're Spider-Man." And he's like, "I gotta leave all of a sudden. I just realized I don't want to be here. Screw y'all." And he leaves, and Harry chases him to like the elevator, and he's like, "Dad, where the hell are you going? Like, I really wanted you to meet MJ." And he's like, "She's nothing, son. They're all pretty and stuff like that, but all they want is your money. Do what you want with her, and then broom her off." Yeah. And then Harry doesn't say anything to that, and MJ is so disappointed in Harry for not standing up for her, and he should have. He wants his father's love and attention so bad that any retaliation is seen as a boundary to that, to what he really wants. But then he goes off on MJ for challenging him and Norman and saying Norman was being a creep, that he basically kills the relationship right then and there. Yeah. It's not official or whatever. Like, she didn't undo him on Facebook, or I'm sorry, 272. She didn't undo him on MySpace. Yeah. But,
she didn't take him out of her top 8.
No. He went from 1 to 8. That's the most.
And then Peter moved up to 3.
Yeah.
Top 8.
He goes after Aunt May later that night. He bursts through the wall of her home.
But first he's having a conversation with himself as him and the Green Goblin. And the Green Goblin says, "Go after Aunt May." And he says, "No, I can't. I don't want to."
Yeah.
But Goblin wins that argument.
So Aunt May goes to the hospital. Peter gets there. She's screaming about Yellow Eyes. He realizes, oh crap, he knows who I am.
Yeah.
Then, like the next day, he's there by Aunt May's side. MJ comes in while Aunt May is asleep. And they have the wonderful conversation where, like, at first, MJ's like, me and Harry are basically done because I think I'm in love with somebody else. She's talking about Spider-Man. Peter's like, oh, well, I know him. I take his pictures and stuff like that. And she's like, oh, my God, did he ask about me? Like, she's excited. Like, oh, God. And he's like, yeah, he asked me, like, what I thought of you. And he just gives this, like, like almost poetic, loving thing about MJ, where it's like when you're with her, you feel scared and excited at the same time.
Look into her eyes.
And it's just one thing, and you're like, oh my God, these two need to get together.
I know.
Oh, gotta have a whole bunch of little spider babies.
Can you imagine running that household if you don't have any spider powers? Like, Jimmy, get off the ceiling. It's time for breakfast. No, Mom. And he takes his cereal and he whips it across the room.
I'd cover all the walls in whatever they put on nonstick pans. But then Harry comes in, sees them holding hands, and they like retract.
Mm-hmm.
And
Harry looks so distraught.
Well, yeah, because once again, he missed out on an opportunity with his father to like make him proud or like impress him at least impress him.
Yeah.
If he even impressed his father a little bit, that'd be like winning like a trophy or something.
And now the girl wants Peter.
Yeah.
Dad seemed to favor Peter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry gets home and Norman's like coming out of the goblin mode, and he tells her like, oh yeah, Peter's in love with Mary Jane, and Norman's like, another person I can attack to mess with Spider-Man. Yeah. And he pretends like,
I haven't always been there for you, have I?
You're busy. You're an important man. I understand.
That's no excuse.
it's his twisted way of being a good father at this point.
Yeah.
It's not the right way. It's still not the right way. Like, but at the end of the day, he wants to kill Spider-Man for himself, but it's more like, oh, it's an add-on. I get what I want, and I can do kind of something nice for Harry.
By torturing his now ex-girlfriend.
So, Goblin kidnaps Mary Jane. Peter suits up, and Goblin has Mary Jane on top of the Brooklyn Bridge, and he's got the trolley car. He took out the trolley car.
Full of, like, elementary school students.
Yeah, who are on a field trip in the middle of the night for some reason. I don't know what's going on. That's how you guys roll in New York. Okay. He's got the kids in one hand. He's got the Mary Jane in the other hand, and he's like, choose. What kind of hero are you, Spider-Man? Because either way, if you choose Mary Jane, then kids die. If he chooses the kids, Mary Jane dies. So either way, it's not a really heroic moment.
And he says something about how that's the thing about being a hero is that someone's always going to try to be there to, like, destroy you or something, or you have an enemy.
Yeah. There's always going to be some psychopath with sadistic choice. Yeah.
He's just out here pontificating every chance he gets.
Yeah. I remember watching this in the theaters and being like, what the hell is he going to do?
Yeah.
So he drops them. They go into slow-mo. We see in each lens of the spider mask, the kids going down in one lens, Mary Jane going down the other lens. And it's like, and he takes off, grabs Mary Jane, and I'm like, oh, the kids are dead. I was like, what? No, Spider-Man! J. Jonah was right. But no, he just grabs her with one arm, swings in. While she's locked onto him, he grabs the trolley rope with the other arm. So Goblin's like, no, that's not what I want to happen.
And everyone starts chucking their shit at Goblin.
Yeah, the people of New York on the bridge come to Spider-Man's aid, which is this great moment because we were like, because of J. Jonah, we were like, oh, did New York turn against Spider-Man?
You mess with Spider, you mess with New York! You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us!
Like throwing their trash at him.
Yeah, and it's kind of a cheesy moment, but it's a great moment where we see Spider-Man is not alone. The people are behind him.
Yeah.
And a tugboat comes in, and he's able to lower the trolley kids on the tugboat. MJ goes down with the trolley.
Oh, there's a moment where he tells Mary Jane she has to crawl down the rope, and she almost flies off.
Yeah.
Yeah, which...
Yeah, they drew out that scene. There's a few moments where it looks like he's going to drop them.
Yeah, and where it looks like she's not going to hang on to the rope.
But then Goblin grabs Peter, takes him flying off to some abandoned old building. They start throwing punches. Pete's trying to fight back as much, but Goblin is in full Dom mode. He's like,
dude.
He's like whatever Pete throws at him, he either breaks through it or comes at him even harder. And
he's throwing Pete through brick walls.
Yeah. Another thing showing that Spider-Man how tough he is, but he's still taking damage. He pulls out some kind of spear out of nowhere, like a triangular 3-headed spear.
Yep.
Where did he just
Well, he tries to make Peter think that he's on his side. He delivers a little speech.
Well, yeah, after Pete fights back and starts taking the fight back to him, and he drops a different brick wall onto him. Yeah, and he tries to come out like, oh, like, it's me, Norman. Remember me?
Takes off his mask.
Yeah.
No, it's me, Peter. I never wanted to hurt you.
you know, like, I've been like a father to you.
Yeah, and it
Be a
shows
son
him,
to me now.
Shows him, yeah, he very, very slowly pushes a button on his glove, and you see
The glider.
the glider come and come up.
Yeah, the very stylized spear blade things. And he's like, you know, be a son to me now. He's like,
I have a father. His name was Ben Parker.
and he's like, Godspeed, Spider-Man. Presses button, glider comes in, spider sense kicks in, Peter flips out the way, and the spider nails Norman right through the gut. And we see like this evil man get his comeuppance by his own hands. And yet, right at the very end, we feel sympathy for him because his last words are, Peter,
don't tell Harry.
This horrible, horrible man in his very last moments finally shows genuine concern for his son. In his final moments, he's finally thinking of Harry first. Awesome! Awesome! Sorry.
It was awesome.
It was great. He takes the costume off Norman Osborn, takes him home. Harry sees Spider-Man come in with the body, pulls out a Walter PPK out of the desk drawer. I think it was a Walter PPK. That's the James Bond gun. But Peter takes off, and now Harry thinks, oh, Spider-Man killed my dad.
Yeah.
They have the funeral. Everyone's there. Harry says, thank God for you. You're the only family I got left. We all know the irony of the fact that, like, you know, what happened. And then Peter walks off to go see Uncle Ben's grave. Because, damn, has he been through a lot, and he just wants to be near his uncle.
Yeah.
MJ comes up, professes her love for him. They have a kiss. Right side up this time. And Peter tells her, I can only be your friend.
He says his friendship is all he has to
give.
offer her.
Yeah.
And she just cries. Oh my God.
Yeah. He walks off, and, you know, and
she touches her lips and she realizes, I know this kiss.
yeah. She probably went into denial afterwards, but yeah, because you understand where Peter's coming from. Because of him being the hero, Aunt May got attacked, MJ got attacked, and Harry is suffering from the battle with the Goblin. Not that, you know, like Peter meant to hurt Harry, but literally every person in his life these top three most important people in his life were all in one way affected by him deciding to be Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't want to draw MJ into that, you know, because he said, you know, like he walks off and you get the narration.
This is my gift. My curse. Who am I? I'm Spider-Man.
And roll credits, baby.
Yeah.
Yes. So.
Oh, so good.
Yes. So, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Oh, sweet Pete. Sweet Petey.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anything else you want to say before we wrap it up here?
I think we covered it.
All right.
Yes,
all right.
I love me some Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, great. Always be great. All right, guys, down in the comments, let us know. Do you love this film? Do you hate this film? I doubt you do, but if you do, hey, let us know.
Yeah, we don't all have to be friends.
Yeah.
All right. Success.
Yes.
Woo.
Boom.